For 2 years she moved from place to place and continued to produce and distribute Falun Gong materials. But in 2002, local police raided a workshop that was producing Falun Gong materials. Li was exposed and taken into custody.
They didn't let us sleep for 4 days and nights. At the same time, to protest my arrest, I also went on a hunger strike for 4 days and nights. No matter how they beat me, I wouldn't speak. But when I was with them, I would tell them the facts to the police and those guards who beat people. I would tell them clearly what Falun Gong is, and that what they were doing was wrong. But in the end, after seeing this, one guard became angry and started to hit me with his elbow on my spine, like this. He struck very hard. He was very tall, and in the end, I felt like my insides had shattered and I fell to the ground. After I fell, he grabbed me up like this, as if holding a chicken, and squashed me to the sides and made me squat. And after 2 days of torture, I had no more energy to retaliate and I couldn't stand up. In the end, I just laid there. After he saw that I wouldn't speak, they thought that, in their eyes, I was like a leader in Falun Gong. But actually, we all know that that really does not exist. There isn't any formal organization, and I wasn't any so-called leader. But after that, they transferred 2 interrogators from Tianjin Division. These 2 interrogators were very well known, but unfortunately I don't remember their names. They did have ID numbers, but I don't remember them. They brought me to a room which was different from where they usually beat me. I remember there were no windows in the room. I was thrown in front of them and they started slapping my face. The first thing he said was, "Did you know that I beat Zhong Hongjie to death?" Zhong Hongjie was a Falun Gong practitioner who had been detained in Tianjin district. Before I was arrested, I had collected information about him. After he was beaten to death, the public security office said that he had committed suicide. But we practitioners knew that he had been persecuted to death. So we collected information about his death and printed out flyers and distributed them. So when he said that he had beaten Zhong Hongjie to death, I was shocked, and I realized that I was facing a murderer. When he said this, the other man immediately said, "Beating Falun Gong to death is counted as nothing and reported as suicide." Before I was arrested, I knew that this policy, beating Falun Gong to death is counted as nothing and reported as suicide, was Jiang Zemin's order to the public security system. And now I was a witness to this order's execution. So I looked at him and I said, "Even if you beat me to death, I will not tell you anything."
The physical abuse continued, and after 2 months Li became paralyzed from the waist down. As her condition worsened, prison authorities feared she was on the brink of death and released her to the local hospital. After being discharged, Li was put under house arrest with 24-hour surveillance. With her brother's help, Li eventually escaped to Tibet and then to Thailand, where she gained refugee status. With help from overseas practitioners, both she and her son eventually came to the U.S. as refugees. Li's brother stayed in China to help more practitioners escape, but was later arrested, beaten to disability, and sentenced to 8 years in prison. They had escaped from prison, had made it out of China, but their journey was still just beginning. Hao Fengjun gained asylum in Australia. Han Guangsheng's asylum application was rejected by the Canadian government, and he was ruled ineligible to stay in Canada because the government found him to be a willing accomplice in crimes against humanity. His current whereabouts are unknown. In the U.S., Zhou Yuyuan and Li Weishun joined other Falun Gong practitioners working to end the persecution in China. And while it's impossible to know how many people have been arrested, tortured, or killed through persecution in China, a handful of people believe they have enough evidence to answer the question of what has China done to Falun Gong.
This is a new form of evil.
This is an evil crime.
Their answer is also the beginning of an investigation. An investigation into allegations that Chinese hospitals may be harvesting organs from prisoners of conscience.